Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is OjyOkpe, the Empress of
Good morning. You our favorite Nigerian.
Good morning.
I'm going to
Good morning. It's your favorite week of the day of the week.
Yes, so how are you this morning?
And you're infecting all of us.
Yes,
Even me now. It's like, I love it.
Yes,
welcome.
Perfect. Well, all right. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending, focusing on reactions to the confrontation by FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, who accused Peter Obi, former Anambra State Governor, and Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate of diverting state funds. The allegations came during the inauguration of a road project in Abuja. Wike spoke in response to Peter Obi's criticisms of dilapidated schools in the FCT, describing Peter Obi as a social media president. Wike alleged that Obi diverted money meant to be used to develop Anambra State into Fidelity Bank, where he was the highest shareholder, so as to earn profit. Wike also challenged Peter Obi to publicly compare what he did in 8 years in Anambra State with what he has accomplished so far in the FCT in just 2 years. Let's take a look.
Some people, because of politics, for example, I hear one of the social media presidential candidates went to one of the local authority area schools and was saying the government has abandoned public schools. In particular, his name is Mr. Peter Obi. It is not everything you must play politics. But let me say this. Peter Obi, you were governor for 8 years in Anambra State. If you have finished all the jobs in 8 years, nobody will be talking about developing Anambra by now. 8 years. Instead of developing Anambra, you took the money and put in the bank you have interest, Fidelity Bank. Anambra State had problems. The money was there to develop Anambra State. You only prefer profit and put the money for the development of Anambra State in the bank you have the largest share, and Anambra will be suffering. Can you really say you love this country? If I were you, why not be quiet? Enough is enough. You cannot be president of Nigeria only when you go to one IDP. Oh, I want to go for a birthday party. I want to do my birthday party in IDP camp. Who is interested in all those things? Enough is enough.
These are serious accusations, and he's saying that, who is interested in all these things. I get the kids in the IDP camps. They do care when people come and visit them. I mean, maybe that's what the FCT minister fails to understand at this point. But these are serious financial, misappropriation allegations. The burden of proof, like I always say, lies with the accuser. Well, reactions have already trailed this, and I'll take some tweets. Ugo wrote on X, I was wondering if, after ranting, Wike has gone to inspect the said school will be visited and ensure renovations start in earnest. That's how to shut opposing voices, not by making noise and neglecting the project afterwards. Well, another ex-user wrote, Dear FCT Minister, Sir, so when you were following Obi up and down like a handbag to learn from him on how he managed finances, boasting of education, upgrades, facilities, tax, power, equipping, and reforms, etc., so you could go to federal and replicate, was he not saving money at the time? And that's the question out there. A lot of, Peter Obi's supporters, in fact, they have pulled up an old video showing where Wike acknowledged Peter Obi's performance while he was governor of Anambra State. Let's take a look.
Let me thank the people of Anambra State for giving us somebody like Peter Obi. Each time I come closer to the governor, I learn new things. New things in the sense of his commitment to his job. is one governor that has not been distracted irrespective of the politicking. He believes that he has a mandate to serve his people, and you can see the results of that commitment.
There you have it, Rufai. The internet never forgets. I mean, at that time, he always learns from Peter. I mean, there were so many pictures that came out of how, you know, he really admired Peter Obi at the time. I mean, they were working together. I believe he was also Minister of Education at the time. Peter Obi donated huge sums of money as well. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, that's one of the pictures we see there.
Yendeva. If he didn't do it, is it not the same Wike that as our last election said that Peter Obi is the hero of that election? So the question is, what changed? No, because it's an APC government now, and APC's number one problem is Peter Obi. They must attack him. And what is Peter Obi's crime? He got over 6 million votes in the last election. So they must attack him and bring him down. As an FCT minister, they told you schools are not good. The next thing, go there and fix it. Go there and fix it. In fact, that's why I want to give due commendation to my very good friend and my able minister, Minister Umahi today. The time we brought the issue of a road not good, what did he do? He went there and he did it.
Sent information.
So on this, Minister Umahi still scores more than Wike. It's not that if I see on that, I will not still talk with you. You know me, I will talk.
Yes.
But on this, Bimba, he sent you message to me. I say, I love him too. We both love each other. But you can see how politics distorts everything.
This is it.
When will Mr. Wike focus on the schools he ought to fix?
Yes.
When will he
saw the pictures?
When will he focus on the questions they've been asking him about land allocation, land grab in Abuja, and properties abroad? Security. When will he focus on that? The next thing, he starts to make allegations. He who alleges must prove. Anyway, Mr. Wike knows how to make a lot of allegations. Hope you know. I'm sure if you don't, let me give you the facts. That Onyeko has sued him to court when he went to make allegations against Onyeko on another TV station that was left unchecked. Onyeko is going to sue him for 20 billion. So he will have to account. Politicians should just face what they have to do. That's just it.
Absolutely.
See, and this argument he was making, the most interesting argument I heard is the fact that if he finished doing everything, there will not be need for another development. So a government will do everything, just finish it like that. Really. Right. So what will be remaining for others to do?
All right.
Mr. Wike, you have tried in your own regard in some areas. In some areas you have not tried.
All
Focus on your work and stop saying things that are not empirical, Jerry.
These are the issues.
The same man you are praising.
You were talking about the FCT and land grabbing. I'll take this story so that we can actually discuss that. Meanwhile, operators at Trinity Gardens in Maitama claim that they are being forcibly displaced after 14 years of lawful operation. The business owners allege that the green area they developed has been reallocated to a newly incorporated company despite having proper documentation and following due process. Well, according to the operators, after green area allocations in Abuja were revoked earlier this year for vetting, they submitted all required documents, including a valid sublease agreement, updated ground rent payments, and a letter of intent from the Abuja Metropolitan Management Council. However, they discovered their original plot number was changed, with a fresh right of occupancy issued to Abuja City Walks Limited, a company incorporated in June that received its rights of occupancy in July. The operators claim that despite taking the legal route and filing a court matter, they received a 24-hour quick notice this week, resulting in 68 staff members being displaced. Now, let's listen to a mother of one of the business owners who's also a widow.
There's no job, and I set up a job for my children. And something like this will just come up someday, demolish millions of naira here. No notice was given. Nobody told. They didn't tell us anything. No, and at least if you're coming to discuss somebody something, there should be a dialogue. There should be a round center table. So me, all I know, the God of the widows, the God of the fatherless. If Wike is drinking water, that water Wike is drinking, he is drinking the anger of the Lord forever and forever.
That is a really sad woman, you can tell. A widow, she's invested so much money. And you know, these operators, they raise critical questions, and I'll read some of their questions. They ask, why would a validly leased property still under agreement be reallocated? 2, they said, why would an active business employing Nigerians be demolished without court resolution? Because they said the matter is in court. These allegations suggest the land was not taken for public use, but for private interest. I mean, these are the sort of questions that they're asking. They're talking about due process. I mean, Ayo, if a matter is in court at this point, why would they demolish the properties? That's the question.
Good question.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Mr. Nyesom Wike's tenure as FCT minister has been plagued with a lot of accusations in this manner. And accusations of land grabbing in fact. It was very sad to see that woman, and she speaks for a number of people in Abuja who have unfortunately undergone that fate. When you say a number of things are in question. Number 1, the respect for the rule of law. Number 2, investor confidence. And this is what we always talk about when issues like this come to the fore. We keep saying, oh, Nigerians in diaspora, come back home, come and invest, come and buy land. We ask foreign investors as well to come in and come and buy land. The president is going from trip to trip, trying to invite people to come and invest in Nigeria. But when they see trends like this, whereby investment can in one day, without notice, as those who have alleged have said, can be destroyed, it's very concerning. It's worrying, and I believe it's high time the minister is called to question as to why these things have happened. Yes, in the past, whether during his media parley or questions raised to him, he has tried to justify his actions, but the justification does not hold water, especially as the matter is still in court, number 1. Number 2, due process was not followed.
Yes.
So it's time for his principal to call him to account and ask that why are there so many accusations around potential land grabbing by him himself? And then what does this position mean for potential investors? Oji, there's some parts in Nigeria now that the people are saying they will not touch with a pole when it comes to investing because they are not sure what would happen to their investment overnight. And that's very worrying.
Yes.
We must provide an enabling environment for investors to be confident enough that their investments are safe.
Yes,
and it's not happening in Abuja at the moment, so we need a clarification.
A response, from the FCT Housing Authority as well to, regards to this allegation of land grabbing and, of course, displacement of, people that have worked years. All right. Meanwhile, in Lagos, officials of the Kick Against Indiscipline Task Force arrested Nollywood actress and philanthropist Sarah Martins while she was cooking for charity on the street Maiden. The visibly distraught actress alleged she was harassed and injured during the encounter, with hot oil spilling on her hand during a scuffle as she attempted to distribute free meals to the less privileged. The Lagos state government, through an official statement, confirmed that the operation was part of an enforcement drive to maintain order and keep the area clean. The government stated that cooking on a public road median violates safety regulations, justifying the actress's arrest and the seizure of her equipment.
Anybody you want to call? Put your call to anybody you want to call. We don't allow it. It is not accepted. Oh yeah, madam. Are you in Lagos? Rubbish.
Give me your phone, go live. Somebody should go live.
Don't worry.
Record this for me. Record this. Please record this.
Well, the actress, I hope that she's fine. Rufa, you were asking who wants to eat the food that is on. I think she's been doing this for a while. If you follow her on her Instagram, she does it for charity.
No, but
and she cooks right there.
Audrey,
but
if you are going to do charity, remember that human beings have dignity.
Yes, so those are some of the questions that
open space for people. I mean, packaging.
Yes. In any way, the incident has sparked a widespread debate online regarding the balance between humanitarian efforts and maintaining public order, while government's position on safety regulations and environmental orderliness is understandable, questions arise about the approach to enforcement, especially when dealing with charitable activities. And Bimbai, this is the question that I'd like to ask. Like I said, she's been doing it for a while. Was she warned? Did she have adequate notice? I know that, you know, she's trying to do charity, but you can see that it's not clean. I mean, that for me, the first time I saw the video, I was actually appalled where she was cooking, you know, in the middle of the street. But, you know, people sell food on the streets as well. And, you know, what happens to those people that sell actual food on the streets as well?
Oji, there are a number of issues happening here. The first is that good intentions do not take away the rule of law, which is that there are rules and regulations. If you do want to set up a stand somewhere to cook for charity, you apply to the relevant authorities, you get a permit to be where you need to be so that they can also ensure that you're not obstructing traffic, there are so many considerations, environmental regulations as well. So it's unfortunate that good intentions mixed with ignorance, unfortunately, ignorance does not cover for your good intentions. There are rules and regulations. You're dealing with food, you're dealing with people. Now there's that side of it. Then on the other side of it, there's shall I say, the undue abuse of force by the task force. Because if you've been around when the task force comes around to bundle people up, whether it be the ones who are selling food on the side of the road, the ones selling fruits and so forth, it's very unsightly. It's very difficult to watch because they are bundled up in a very inhumane way. If you see the task force truck coming, the way people scatter and run because they're terrified. Of course, they have their own goods that they're trying to preserve, but also they are manhandled. So I think that we need to figure out how to engage when it comes to enforcing the rule of law, because you find that in most instances we're either too lenient or we're too aggressive. You know, it takes me back to the issue that happened around, remember the Ibom Air and how the lady was handled and so forth. So if the enforcement agency, or even when they are within their rights to enforce, how do we go about it? You can't manhandle. Now hot oil has spilt on her. This isn't a crime that is punishable by being burnt, scalded by hot oil. They could have just done it in an orderly way. Now, last but not least, I heard the lady saying somebody should go live. This obsession with attention needs to come to an end. But everything cannot be about going live. We cannot switch on ring light for every issue that happens. We can't, because it now begs the question, what is her real cause? Was it really charity, or was it popularity? Was it a publicity stunt? Was it truly charity from her heart, or was it just a way to try and get popularity?
Those are the questions. Like I said, she's been posting these videos for a while, right? And I'd like to take a comment from Tokumbo Wahab. He posted a response to this video on X, and I'll read just an excerpt of it. He wrote, while the Lagos state government deeply appreciates the spirit of philanthropy and community support demonstrated by many residents, such initiatives must be carried out in compliance with the state's extant laws to ensure public safety, environmental protection, and urban order. And that's the urge from the Lagos state government. Please, there is no discouragement in charity work. We cannot discourage charity work, but it has to be done according to the law, and it has to be safe. Well, I hope that, I did see a video of the lady going to a spa to get her hand healed. I hope that she gets healed really quickly. We'll take another story now. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has debunked allegations made by Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, who claimed that some pilots in Nigeria smoke Indian hemp and get high before flying, attributing many runway overrun incidents to drug use and poor regulatory oversight leadership. The allegations were made during plenary as senators debated a motion on strengthening aviation safety in Nigeria. Kalu criticized aviation regulatory agencies, including the NCAA, for allegedly failing to properly monitor pilots' leadership. Let's take a look.
Some of the pilots are not prepared. Some of them use Indian hemp. Yes, it's true. Some of them smoke Indian hemp, and some of them are not properly audited by the authorities. I am telling you what I know, because the NCAA
and NEMA and other authorities are not looking after these pilots and checking them on drugs. On the spot assessment, they are not doing it because it is dangerous. And you see them walking into the airplane, nobody checked their blood pressure, nobody checked anything, nothing, and their drug level. Not that aircraft, most of them 737-500 have an automatic landing gear system. It doesn't need the pilot to land the plane. What needs to land the plane is the computer, autopilot. But because some of them are high, they are not going to do this thing. Because any aircraft that is of the new generation don't need the pilot to fly. Landing and takeoff is purely automatic.
All right. I believe this senator had an airline at one time. I believe, I forget what it was called, Sorka or something like that. But you know, the NCAA has described the senator's claims as baseless and misleading, defending the professionalism of Nigerian pilots and the robustness of its oversight system. The Director General of NCAA, Chris Najomo, in a statement insisted that all licensed pilots in Nigeria undergo rigorous medical, professional and safety checks before being cleared to fly, adding that no pilot can operate a Nigerian registered aircraft without holding both a valid pilot license and current medical certificate, with commercial and airline transport pilots requiring Class 1 medical certificates issued after comprehensive aero-medical evaluation. I believe that, you know, the Association of Pilots have also responded. I sent to Festus Kiyamo. He was quite appalled that, you know, the senator was making such, you know, as it appears, baseless claims. You were saying something, Ayo, were you, or?
Yes,
you guys were speaking about it.
Yes, the senator didn't say it well. He made a fallacy of hasty generalization.
Fallacy of hasty generalization. Yeah.
So he generalized too hastily and he exaggerated. But the question, based on empirical facts, was there a case where cannabinol was found and narcotic was found in the blood of a pilot after an incident in this country?
And an air hostess.
And an air hostess? Yes, there was.
An isolated incident.
No, yes. No.
One isolated incident.
One isolated incident, too many.
But you now ask, how
because
does the ecosystem allow that incident
to happen in the first place? One too many.
Have you watched the movie Flight?
No, hang on a minute.
With Denzel Washington in it?
Let me finish.
Yeah, it happens everywhere.
You say one isolated incident, yes. An airplane overshot the runway by a mile. That could have led to very, very bad disaster. What we should do is attack that. That should never even have happened in the first place.
Right.
And the fact that after a test by Accidents and Investigation Bureau, they found that happened. But so did it happen? Yes. But is the senator right by now making this fallacy and hasty generalization and using one paint to one tar to brush everybody in the industry? He's wrong on that. But we cannot deny the fact that it happened.
All right. Well, that was one incident that happened. But did you guys listen to the response by the
NCAA's response?
Yes, they have
said that they do random checks, and there will always be people that fall through the cracks. Even in the most developed of nations where they have very sophisticated methods of random checks, whether it be in the sports industry, whether it be the security agents or enforcers, it happens. And so I think it's quite dangerous, especially for a man of his standing to stand on the floor of the Senate, the hallowed chamber of the Senate, and make assertions that are misleading and could cause reactions that are not palatable, especially attacking the aviation industry, particularly because a lot of work is being done. And that's why I'm glad that the NCAA came out, because you know I'm saying that when it comes to Nigeria and the way that enforcement is done, people latch onto these bad stories very quickly.
Correct.
And you can now spread the news, and that's why some headlines say Nigerian pilots are on drugs. And it's false.
It's false.
So for him to make that statement, I think it was important, and which the NCAA did, that not all pilots are high. In fact, that was one pilot that was found, and it happens. And the reason for random checks or checks like this is to prevent. You can prevent. I think also speaks to a deeper issue of the prevalence of drug abuse as a nation generally, and that's one thing that we should talk about as well. So I think that it is important that it has been debunked, and we should not just paint an entire, call pilots that are. So whenever you want to go on the plane, you want to be smelling the breath from you on a lighter note. But I think it's important, yes, that they came out to the they came out to the robust response and the medical rigor for each person, for the pilot that it goes through by the NCAA. I think it was in order.
All right, well said, Ayo, well said. Now let's bring you an update to the story of detained leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. On Thursday, the medical panel constituted by the Nigerian Medical Association declared that Kanu is medically fit to stand trial on terrorism charges. The panel concluded that the health condition cited by Kanu is not life-threatening. The judge in the case, Justice James Omotosho, has scheduled 6 consecutive days beginning October 23rd for Kanu to open and close his defense following the NMA panel's findings. Meanwhile, lawyers representing Nnamdi Kanu have faulted the Federal High Court ruling. They accused the Nigerian Medical Association of fabricating the medical report without conducting any examination as ordered by the court. Lawyer Maxwell Okpara criticized the Medical Association for producing what he called a baseless document without laboratory evidence or a date of specimen collection. Emphasizing the gravity of the situation, the lawyer further alleged bias and ethnic persecution against Nnamdi Kanu and the Igbos.
They serve us this thing today. And if you watch there, in this particular medical report, you can see all the ailments they say that Nnamdi Kanu is suffering from. And surprisingly, somebody that has all these particular issues, you now, in the last paragraph, to say that from your own distance, he can stand trial. Somebody that is passing through all this ailment. Having said that, too, go to make a consequential order. Say, please, go and examine him and report back to me. They never examine Nnamdi Kanu, only for them to come up with this report. Nigerian Medical Council, they should be very careful, because this is a professional body and we are expected to act professionally. We are talking about somebody's life, for goodness sake. We are the people that even gave Nnamdi Kanu this thing. When the court was about to sit, we are talking about somebody's life. Of course, as a matter of this thing, the Igbos are on trial. This is a war against the Igbos. Of course, you are here when the president ordered the police and the army to go and negotiate and have a discussion with the terrorists and the non-bandits in this town. Somebody that has been discharged by Court of Appeal. So we don't want to go into that. This is a trial. Again, the Igbos are on trial. This is a persecution, not a prosecution.
Serious allegations, challenging the credibility of the Medical Association that declared Nnamdi Kanu fit for trial. The lawyers' concerns about proper medical examination protocols and documentation raise important questions about due process, especially given the courts commissioned the assessment to resolve this conflicting medical claim. Again, due process, like we discussed earlier about the FCT land grab and the demolition. I mean, the good thing is that Nnamdi Kanu has 6 days now. It starts, I believe, October 23rd. He'll have 6 days for his hearing to be to start and to be concluded. But if you hear these sort of allegations, I mean, just shatters your heart. Really, this is not the sort of things that we want to hear in our society.
The comment is that he deserves fairness. Especially in terms of his well-being. And it's not the first time these allegations are coming up. Remember before, he didn't have a change of clothes. He has gone through a lot in detention. I'm glad that the case is now being fast-tracked, because we also know that there are protests that have been planned that are coming up soon. But in all of this, whatever the evidence says, whatever the final conviction will be, he deserves fairness.
Right.
And justice is about fairness.
Well said, Mumbai. Justice is about fairness. It can't be all doom and gloom in Nigeria, can it really? Shall we now take our good news report from Lagos, where a team led by Professor Kingsley Ekweme, a consultant urological and robotic surgeon, made history successfully performing the first urolift surgery in Nigeria, marking a new major milestone for local medical innovation. Professor Ekweme is a UK-trained surgeon who returned to Nigeria to revolutionize prostate care within the country. The urolift surgery itself is a minimally invasive one that uses small implants to lift and hold prostate tissue out of the urethra's way. Speaking after the procedure at the prostate clinic last weekend, Ekweme described it as a remarkable achievement for Nigeria and Africa's medical space, saying that this urolift procedure offers a safer and more efficient alternative to traditional surgeries that may often come with unwanted side effects.
We have achieved the first robotic surgery for Nigeria, West Africa, Central Africa, and we have done nearly 50 procedures successfully without any problems, and now we have introduced the urolift for benign prostate enlargement, which is the first in Africa. But we're not stopping there. My intention is to further take prostate cancer minimally invasive treatment further.
This is such good news. It was quite baffling for me to note that, we didn't have this sort of, surgeries in Nigeria. But, according to the World Health Organization, prostate disorders have become a significant health burden here in Nigeria. So it's great to see innovations like this to give people the option of effective care right here in Nigeria without having to travel to receive it. Congratulations, Dr. Ekweme. Now under milestones. We mourn the passing of Ambassador Joy Uche Angela Ogwu, a former Minister of Foreign Affairs and Nigeria's permanent representative to the United Nations, who died on October 13th, 2025, at the age of 79. Ambassador Ogwu represented Nigeria at the United Nations from May 2008 to May 2017, during which she presided over the UN Security Council twice, first in July 2010 and again in October 2011. A skilled diplomat and scholar, she also served as Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, where she made invaluable contributions to developing Nigeria's foreign policy and international relations scholarship. President Tinubu extolled the late ambassador for projecting Nigeria's voice with clarity and purpose, working tirelessly for global peace and the advancement of women's rights. Her inspiring dedication and skill at the highest levels of international diplomacy brought honor to Nigeria and demonstrated African excellence on the world stage. Throughout her career, Ambassador Ogwu broke barriers and set standards, combining academic rigor with diplomatic finesse. Her leadership at NIA shaped generations of foreign policy thinkers and practitioners, while her tenure at the UN elevated Nigeria's standing in global affairs during critical moments in international relations. President Tinubu captured the essence of her legacy, declaring Nigeria has lost a trailblazer who rose to the highest level of her vocation through excellence and hard work. Ambassador Ogwu's journey from scholar to diplomat to global statesman exemplifies what Nigerian women can achieve through dedication and merit. Her dual presidency of the UN Security Council remains a historic achievement, positioning her among Africa's most influential voices in international diplomacy. May her soul rest in peace. More on the milestones. Today, we celebrate a historic honor bestowed upon former Nigerian Vice President Namadi Sambo, turbaned as the Sardinia Zazal, in a grand ceremony at the Emir's Palace in Zaria. The prestigious title recognizes decades of exemplary leadership and unwavering commitment to national development. Born Mohammed Namadi Sambo, the architect turned statesman began his journey in public service as governor of Kaduna State from 2007 to 2010, where he laid the groundwork for infrastructure transformation across the state. But it was his ascension to vice president under Goodluck Jonathan from 2010 to 2015 that would cement his place in Nigeria's political history. The title Sardinia Zazal, a position of profound cultural and historical significance in northern Nigeria, was originally conferred on Sambo in 2014 by the late Emir Shehu Idris. Yet the turbaning ceremony waited more than a decade, finally realized on Saturday, October 11th, 2025, under the authority of His Highness Ambassador Ahmed Nuhu Balmali, Emir of Zazal. The ceremony drew former President Goodluck Jonathan, Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani, who served as special guests, and chief host, governors past and present, and dignitaries from across the nation, all gathered to witness a statesman's receive recognition that transcends politics.
Akare zamu babbar masarauta doka tamburan muna alfarma masarautar Hausawan birnin Akare da kewaye ta kasaita masarautar Hausawan birnin Akare da kewaye ta kasaita masarautar Hausawan birnin Akare zan yi wa tambari masarautar Hausawan.
Congratulations. Governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani, described the honor as a testament to Sambo's towering contributions to public service and unrelenting commitment to unity and development. Congratulations to an illustrious son of Kaduna State who has earned his place among the cultural custodians of northern Nigeria. Huge congratulations. Shall we take our final story under our entertainment? To celebrate Fela Aníkúlá Kuti, who actually, this is, I believe this is the 89th posthumous birthday.
If you call a woman, African woman, no go green. She go say, I be lady, oh. She go say, I be lady. She go say, I be lady, oh. She go say, I no be woman. She go say, I be lady, oh. She go say, my cat woman, na woman. She go say, I be lady, oh. She go say, my cat woman, na woman. She go say, I be lady, oh.
If you call a woman African woman, not go green, she go say, I be lady.
I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis as always on What's Trending. You all have a great weekend. Where are you? Well, all right. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I'll see you all next week.